What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Wedding Crashers podcast. We're excited to be here with you. Elephant in the room. Let's talk about it. We haven't. We took a hiatus.
There's so many elephants in this tiny room.
It's been a long break. We've had a lot going on. It was for the best that we took a little bit of a break.
I don't even remember fall. When was the last podcast?
We didn't actually decide we were going to take a break. We just were both collectively drowning. And then we looked at each other and we're like, we haven't podcasted.
We had this unspoken understanding that it just wasn't going to happen now. But there has been a lot to... Now we have a lot of content for today's episode, for the next week's episode, for the continuous amounts of episodes.
Every week for all of next year.
We are going to be consistent about. One of the many reasons that we can be is that we knew we wanted to be consistent. The only way that it was going to work is if we had something set in stone in this office, because little does everyone know, in order to make this happen on a weekly basis, and why I think it was so easy to just forego the past however many weeks it's been, is that it would be a setup of our equipment and our lights, and then packing up the lights and our equipment and our tripods and taking them back home and taking them to weddings and resetting up.
Nobody understands how hard of a job that is.
Well, it just has to be something dedicated to the space. So
it's not even like it's hard. It's just so time-consuming.
It's just time-consuming. And so by the time that we have all the lights set up, all the tripods set up, all the audio equipment set up, from our bags of camera equipment that we take to our weddings, I mean, we're learning. So we've invested, rightfully so, in equipment that's going to just stay right where it's at.
Above us, this is not pictured. There's a huge, what do you call this light?
The lantern diffuser?
Yeah.
The big old dome?
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's bigger than me. And it's sweet. And now it's on its own stand, and it's going to live here, and there's the audio equipment. Everything's living here.
We have a camera that belongs to WC Wedding Crashers. We have audio equipment that belongs to Wedding Crashers. Everything's going to stay as it is.
Most importantly, we have no retreat coming up in the year of 2026. So we have not only equipment that is going to be stationary, but we have so much more of our time and attention that's not going towards planning a retreat, that is going to be dedicated to this podcast and our online school community for the next year. So we're very excited about this upcoming year. But we should recap. We should recap the retreat and talk to everybody, because I think that's when we left off.
So we had been pushing at the end of every podcast, or sometimes at the beginning, but especially on our Instagram, hey, we have a retreat going on. It's going to be amazing. That was one of the very first things we ever did in this studio set, was say, hey, we have a retreat. It was March. We have a retreat in Oregon. You better freaking go.
Yeah.
And we had high hopes that there were going to be certain people there. We were more or less saying, hey, we have big surprises for you, knowing that if we were to pull this off, it would be kind of a big surprise to us as well. But
cat's out of the bag.
So
we had really high hopes that we'd be able to deliver on our promises. And we did.
We did. Everything.
It was so great.
Okay, let me back up a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know how far back I want to go, but I'll just say...
Start at the beginning.
Okay, well, not the very beginning.
Tell us about your child.
So, I was born in 92, right? And it was crazy. Friggin' the Bulls were on top. And come to find out, however many years later, we start an education thing together. We started soft launch it in February of this year. I was about to say last year, because it's almost the new year.
Yeah.
Anyways, we do a workshop. We move into this office. We get this office all decorated. We're going to get into education. We're going to start kick everything off by doing a retreat. And we have many months to plan it, from March till November. November is Oregon time. We plan the retreat for Oregon along the coast. And we know that we're going to need some help. So we have some excellent help, and we've mentioned them before. We couldn't have done it without them. We have Jacob from Sancho Films. We have Carmela from Carmela Joy Photography. Excellent planning, excellent help when it comes to the marketing. Amazing. We knew that in order to pull this off, we would have loved, and we did receive, a lot of help from two individuals. One being Boomer from Multiply Sound, who is very, very popular in his space. Very niche company that he's made, but it's helped so many filmmakers create sound, scores, different kinds of ways of complementing their music and editing it. He does a great job, and he lives in Oregon.
Yeah.
So that was step one. It'd be really cool to have a connection with Boomer, maybe go over there, him show us what we need to know or what spaces to look at in Oregon for us to do our retreat. We do step one. We book our flights, and he's gracious enough to let us stay at his house. And
So gracious.
it was amazing. We like, these are the spots. This is what I like. This is what you can expect. Come November, we stay with him. He feeds us. He takes us around town. Incredible.
Literally. Yeah, literally.
Then, big step number 2, along with all the planning, week for week of just like marketing it and convincing people, hey, definitely spend your money and time with us come November, which is already kind of hard because November in general, including for us, come to find out, is an extremely busy time of year for weddings, especially in Arizona. Had I thought it was going to be as busy as it was,
this never would have happened.
and we would have never have done it.
No.
So that was in large part the reason why the podcast just had to be on hold, because it was not a priority. We get a good relationship with John Bunn, who at the time was doing How to Film Weddings podcast, probably the biggest wedding film podcast at the time. And I was lucky enough to be a guest on there, and I had brought up Wedding Crashers, and he's like, okay, yeah, sounds good. Whatever. I'm sure there's a lot of people that tell him whatever they're starting and to shout him out for it. We asked him later on, or you had also a relationship with him because you had actually had a mentorship with him months later. And then we think to ourselves, and then we actually message him and say, do you want to, by chance, come by?
Do you want to maybe be a part of
the thing? And so, granted, kind of a big risk on his part, because like we're some guys, we've done one workshop, we've done some education online, we've done some mentorships, but as far as like retreats, big goose egg.
Yeah.
So haven't done any retreats. He likes us. We like him. He knows kind of like he's gotten to know us enough. He's gotten to know us enough to believe in us and think, wow, well, I mean, you guys are kind of doing the thing. And I'm pretty sure that would be, I don't know, how would you explain basically like his feeling when we approached him? Like, hey, become a part of the retreat with us.
It was like he was like, yeah, I mean, you guys seem legit. But then he also asked the obligatory question, like, okay, like what happens if this thing, like what are the chances this thing gets canceled? So he was excited to help out, but also like you said it, like he's probably been in this situation a bunch of times where, he probably has had this happen before and it's canceled and it's not happened, right? So he's naturally skeptical, naturally.
So the pressure is on us, like, okay, for sure not going to cancel this. We've been planning it since the spring. We got all these people. We got people involved in it, and thankfully so. But the pressure with every person that gets excited to become a part of the planning process, of the collaborative process, of the design process, of the keynote speaking process, the pressure kind of builds up in terms of like us having to actually deliver on the thing.
Yeah.
And that meant selling tickets. And as it was getting closer, we're thinking we have not sold enough tickets yet. And the only thing that was consoling me in my mind, and in your mind too, was something that Boomer had told us, where the first time they had run the alignment experience, and for those that don't know the alignment experience, it's this great thing that Boomer and Films by Stanton, Cody Stanton run, that is bigger than just like wedding film or wedding photography. It's like finding your, kind of like realigning yourself for the year. They run it in January, and there's a lot of like solo entrepreneurs that go in there and they find themselves inspired because they're very good at that stuff. He had told us, Boomer, that for his first alignment experience, he did not sell. I think he sold like,
he had 60 tickets available.
He had 60 tickets available. He had sold less than 10.
Right.
Up to a month before the actual retreat was going to take place, and then sold the 40 in the month leading up to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, there's probably just a matter of like people needing to know their schedules, knowing if they want to invest in something like that, but having to wait, obviously, to see if they'll be busy that week, which is completely understandable. But it's our first time doing this, so I really don't know if it's going to happen for us, because planning everything a month before actually doing the thing
is crazy.
And then realizing that you might not sell anything is a really scary concept.
Yes.
So, fast forward. We sold all of our tickets, all of our spots. It actually did kind of happen just like that.
Yeah.
With some elbow grease on our part, reaching out individually to people that we think would be interested, offering them good like deals on the thing if they were to tell their friends about it. So putting in like the legwork and like running around to like anyone that would be willing to take the chance on us, like do it, because it's going to be amazing. Okay, we go to the thing.
Yes.
We actually get our tickets to Oregon. I don't know how in depth I should go about everything, but we get our tickets, we fly to Oregon, we meet up with people in the airport, and all I can think about, we're very introspective people, we've come to realize about ourselves. As we go to the airport from Phoenix, we're going to meet a lot of these other people in Phoenix on those same flights going to Oregon. And me and Cameron find these seats, and it's very rare to find like seats in an airport terminal where you just can see all along down the highway. And we just had like the front row center, just like looking down and seeing all these people walking up looking for us, and we just wouldn't say anything. We just kind of let them wander because I just wanted to look at them. But at least in my mind, I'm like, we're the guys that are hosting the thing that all these people in the terminal, not all of them, but that they're here for.
They were walking through. They looked like they were searching for something, and it was us that they were searching for. That was I don't think I like fully understood in that moment how I felt about it, but I definitely was thinking about. I'm like, they were literally walking up, and they were expecting us to deliver them an experience.
Yeah.
It felt so big. It felt like at first we were like, we should sit here so we can watch everybody like stumble in, like we could just watch people. Mm-hmm. It was kind of silly. And then it was like, it was a lot less silly once people actually started filtering in, because I was like, it was funny, but then I'm like, oh, they're finding us.
Yeah.
They're now, here we go.
Because yeah,
it was scary. I don't know. It was
cool, but also like, okay, we're all about to hop on the plane to go to the thing that we are doing, right?
Yeah,
it's like it's our thing in Oregon that we're hosting, and everything had been handled leading up to that day, because even leading up to the very day that we had to fly, we were doing the wedding still. I had just gotten back from Mexico the day before. You had done what, 2 weddings that weekend, or something like that?
One in California.
Yeah, and we're just coming back into town to just go directly to Oregon, where Carmela and Jacob had already flown a few days before or a day before to set up everything, to get, we had merch there, we had brochures, we had the timeline. All of the beds were basically going to be, Carmela was going to go to each individual Airbnb and go into the bedrooms and like do like a little welcome pack and everything. Just this whole great presentation that she did, which was awesome. So she's keeping us updated. We take our flight. We're having a good time. We land. I'm just like looking up a place to have a brunch, basically. In the first place was just all tofu. So we're like, we're not doing tofu. So we're going to the second place that we can find. And the second place was, I think that's what kind of set the tone. It's like as soon as we landed and we said hi to everyone in the airport, and everyone's like, I'm excited to be here. And then we actually got the group together to go into town in Portland and have this awesome brunch that we kind of found by mistake. And it was like the perfect spot, just vibes. And there was like a fire pit. And we're all just like having a good time talking. I'm thinking, this is probably going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I started realizing it was going to be cool when we actually got into Portland. And we were waiting by the baggage claim, and everyone was just kind of trickling in from the other states, right? And we're kind of waiting, and then we're like, okay, let's go get the rental cars. And we had these 2 big vans. We rented these 2 Sprinter vans, and we were just, the retreat dads. We were just a couple of dads driving everybody around.
Because I had a van, you had a van, and everyone had said that was a nice touch, because people could rent a car if we wanted to, but if they didn't, we will be like the retreat dads. Like we will drive everyone in each individual van.
And we were.
It was great.
It was so fun, man. We're listening to music the whole time. We're chatting. We just had conversations nonstop. It was super cool. And yes, the spot that we went to was so vibey, and it was just like, it was kind of brisk outside, but there was these little fire pits inside the little coffee shop.
Yeah.
Out on the patio. It was so cool. It was so cool. And then we get in the car, and we're waiting until we were supposed to be waiting till 5:00 for check-in. That was when Carmela was going to be done with all of the room assignments, with the schedules and the merch and everything laid out for everybody, stocking the fridges and all that stuff. And so we're like, okay, we should just kill some time. So we decide to go to Cannon Beach.
Just
on a whim.
Just like we can burn like an hour at Cannon Beach.
Happened to show up at the perfect time, sunset.
Listen. There are so many things.
There's so many feelings that are coming back up.
But there's also so many things that happened right during this retreat that definitely did not need to happen, nor were we expecting them to.
There was only one thing that went wrong, and we could talk about it later. There was only one thing that went wrong.
Yeah, and that sucked. But overall, it ended up being fine. But the sun playing such a role. Dude, in that week, no one is expecting to have the sun being as present as it was from November 17th to November 21st on the coast of Oregon.
Well, yeah, it's like already like the rainiest place in the world, but we happened to be going during like the wettest days, the wettest set of 4 days that Oregon's like ever seen. Like there was expected to be absolutely no sun the entire week. Every time we stepped foot outside, the sun came out, the clouds opened up, it stopped raining, and then as soon as we went back inside, it rained again. All 4 days.
I'm telling you,
it just did it every time.
Okay. It's gonna be really hard not to talk about this for a long time, but I just want to go through like how each individual day had its own like sets of like these little miracles that just kept happening, and it's not like we were even asking for them. We were totally prepared for these things not to happen.
We told
the way
everybody
they did.
Bring rain gear, bring stuff to cover your cameras. We're gonna be outside. It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be windy. It's gonna be rainy. Like we prepared for the worst.
Yeah, and so again, another thing that kind of set the tone. We get to Cannon Beach, and even on our scouting trip to Cannon Beach with Boomer, we saw basically everything, especially Cannon Beach with like some haze and some fog and cloudy. We go there on a whim, and it's this most beautiful sunset, and everyone's just like freaking out. Phones are out everywhere, like, wow, like this is so cool. Who would have thought? And I'm just like kind of like,
Shelby had her camera out. She's like already taking like pictures of Sam and Megan.
Yes. Like, and I'm being kind of like joking about it. It's like, yep, just like how he drew up. He just had to trust us. You know what I'm saying? And it was fun. So we go there. We on the first day, so the first day is from the brunch to Cannon Beach, and then we go to the Airbnbs. And the guys have a nice big Airbnb, and the ladies have an even bigger, nicer Airbnb. And that's basically where we all reconvene when it's time to do like talking and education and stuff like that, and meals. Yeah. Really, really awesome spot that we got right on the water. And the first day was basically, as far as like keynotes and speaking, it was my night to go over a wedding videographer's purpose. And so there was a lot of talk leading up that we could have gotten as deeply educational when it came to like business or finances or settings or how to shoot a wedding or how to use your camera. And we touched on them a little bit, especially like in passing as people had questions because they spent a lot of time with us. But I knew, at least we had felt as it was going on, that the precedent had to be set that we were here to kind of inspire and show people that we cared and show that there's such a deeper foundation to this job that even you might realize, right? And I went into the contrast of perspective between my prior jobs, especially that having such an important role in people's lives as an ICU nurse, and my current role as basically being in charge of people's memories on the best day of their lives up to that point. And it was great. I think I got more emotional than I would have thought. And that was the whole thing, is that everyone after that point, I think, got a little bit more emotional on their talking points that they previously imagined.
I don't think you had planned on getting emotional.
No.
So it's one of those things where it's like, even that, I'm like, okay, random Kyle emotion sets this like tone for everybody, like, okay, so it's okay for me to kind of like let down my guard.
Yeah, like,
and I don't think anybody like maybe thought that or like could contextualize the feeling, but like that first day, it just kind of set the tone for like, this is a place where we're going to talk about a lot of different things. You're going to learn a lot of different things, and it's okay to like just absorb for a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. It was really cool. It was a great keynote, by the way.
Thank you.
I know I told you that, but I'm going to tell you in front of everybody on the podcast.
Okay.
It was a great keynote.
Okay. I was really happy with it. I was really happy with it. We all went to bed kind of just like, well, Kyle's a big crybaby, but I feel a little bit inspired.
Yeah.
So we go to bed, and then I don't know. I can break down each individual day, but
we'll just do the big ones.
But
we'll do like the big parts of each day. So we went to bed that night.
Next day,
we had such a cool setup. It was so fun. We were on the top floor, and it was so fun. James was with us on the top floor. All the rest of the guys were downstairs. And I have to say, the Airbnbs, I know we don't really need to talk about the Airbnbs, but they were so sick.
They were really
They
cool.
were so sick. The girls' Airbnb was on the water. It had this wall of windows. The entire back wall was facing the water, and you could see everything. Same with the guys. It just wasn't as tall. But it was right on the water. It was so cool. Like, that was one of the things that everybody said was like, it was just this place where it just felt if like it felt like you were there, like you were all encompassed with it, like you were seeing the rain, you were seeing the sun, you were seeing the clouds, you were seeing the haze, you were seeing the water, like you were there, like experiencing all of it. So that was really cool.
It was amazing. The guys didn't really even get to appreciate the view that they had until the next day, because by the time we got to their house, it was dark, and then next day came around, people were looking out the window like,
well, yeah,
whoa.
But it was even till we got back, because we left before sunrise. So we left the house. So we went to before sunrise.
That's right. The next
first day,
day 2, we go straight
we were very
to the
tired.
shoot.
Did we play games that night, or did we not play games that night?
Oh, we might have. But yeah, day 2, we wake up, we go straight to a sunrise shoot at Cannon Beach.
Right.
And that was awesome. Really, really amazing couples, by the way.
Big thank you to our couples.
Yeah.
You guys were all amazing. I'm sure you'll see a clip of this on the social media. But seriously, everyone had such great things to say about all of the couples that we worked with. So yeah, Haystack Rock.
Haystack Rock first
shoot.
And so one thing I want to point out is, I including myself, we all have this very primal instinct of like, oh, there's not going to be enough time. I need to get in there as much as I can, because at first, when you're feeling things out, and also because of their experience with other style shoots, they don't know that they think they just have to get in there, because they don't really know how much time they have. There's almost like this shortage of time that they're so used to, that like everyone's kind of like dog eat dog, like, can I get my shot? Can I get my shot? Can I get my shot?
You kind of have to be assertive if you want to actually get what you paid your money for.
Right. And that's what they're used to. And so we had this great plan, a lot in part thanks to Carmela, where me and Cameron are running the show, and we're starting them, stopping each individual person. Everyone has the opportunity to shoot at the same time, but one person has the opportunity specifically to be center and direct.
Yeah, so we had a timer going for 3 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
And basically, like you said, everybody had an opportunity to be shooting at any moment, but the only person that was allowed to direct the couple at any given moment was whoever's turn it was during that 3 minute interval.
Yeah.
Which was really, at first you think like, oh, that's only 3 minutes. Like, that's not very much. But then you actually get there in 3 minutes. It goes by kind of fast, but at the same time, it's a long time to direct. But the best part is that we had two different. So we had one for all of the styled shoots. We had one bridal couple and then one engagement couple, and we had groups. Kyle had a group and I had a group, and we were split evenly down the middle. So we would start, and everybody would get an opportunity with the couple. And then we would switch after 30 minutes to the other group for the other couple. And then we'd switch back, and then we'd switch back. So you had at every shoot, you had 12 total minutes of directing time.
So people didn't know that starting out.
Yeah.
They thought that was going to be their time, and then they were going to be done.
Yeah.
So of course it was like, and then we did a switch, and then they had their time with you.
Yep.
And then they're like, in their minds, okay, I guess the day's over. And then they switch back to me.
Yeah.
And like, oh, we're back with this couple again. And then they switch back to you.
Yes.
And then from that day on, we're telling them, no, we've got them for a lot of time.
Yeah.
And we made sure that everyone has an equal opportunity to direct or ask us questions.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to go right back and forth to these couples, and you can do it again or do something different. So everyone kind of just like relaxed.
Yeah.
After like the first hour.
It was so nice when everybody they're like, oh, okay, so I have plenty of time.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you have plenty of time. Yeah. And which was really cool, because it also gave that sigh of relief, gave people an opportunity to kind of sit back and watch other people direct. That was what I mean, it wasn't our retreat. Like, it wasn't our content to like get, like, there was never a time where I was like going to want to like cut in and take somebody else's time because I'm the host. Like, we're the host. So I was okay to give away all my time if I had to. So I was kind of standing back, and, we're getting questions and people asking us about posing, but like, I found so much, like, I thought it was so cool to watch other people pose and direct the couple. I don't know. I found so much value in that. I saw a lot of other people that were, sitting back with me and were watching somebody direct, and they're like, oh, that's a good idea. And then someone would say, oh my gosh, I never thought about, I want in on that. Well, and then they do the same thing, right. Or, like, it was just really inspiring to sit back and watch everybody kind of take turns like that.
Because that's what a wedding day is. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm so used to photographers kind of doing something, me being inspired by that, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
It was really great. It was great back and forth with everyone.
Yep.
So that was the first day, sunrise, and then we did, oh my gosh, I'm not remembering what the second day was.
No, we had the second shoot the second day. So we had, oh wait. Yeah, so we went back and we had Jacob's keynote. Jacob had actually, no, you had your live editing first. No. Jacob went
Yeah,
first
Jacob
with
went
his
first.
creativity keynote.
Yeah,
which-
we went and got like breakfast and coffee, and
Right.
then we came back and he does his creative keynote.
right.
And again, it's just more about like inspiring and like how to be an artist. And
Which I want to talk about for a second because Jacob brought up he a lot of his thought was from this book, and I cannot for the life of me remember. I bought the audiobook after he talked about it because it was so cool. But I'll link it in the show notes once I find it. But a lot of it was talking about creativity and where it comes from, and from this like youthful spirit, like this, this playground, right? And your most creative self when you're at play, and the people that play the most are kids, like your inner child. And
yeah.
that's basically, Jacob kind of brought up this idea, and we had no idea that basically the rest of the retreat would kind of follow suit with that. So I think it's important to point out that you have the keynote where you let people in and you see this is a really important thing. There's a deep purpose that maybe you hadn't even thought about before, but now you're aware of it. You show some emotion and everyone's feeling comfortable and in this, I don't want to say like safe place because that sounds kind of weird, but like just in this space where you're okay to learn and grow and be somebody that maybe you're scared to be or whatever. And then Jacob brings up the thing about creativity. And that was the moment where it kind of started clicking for people about being creative as a whole, which I thought was really great because then we went right into your section, which was a live editing where people were asking questions while you're basically going over part of your timeline for the video that you had just posted on your Instagram, the Mexico video. And it was really cool to watch everybody ask questions about your song choice and when you mix the music and how you mix the music, and do you do things chronologically? Do you do things out of order? What's the thought process? Like all of these creative questions coming out. And that really set the tone for the remainder of the retreat, which was like, okay, how can I be my most creative self? Which I thought was really, I just thought it was so like, what a little miracle that you happened to do the purpose. Like that was the first one where you let people in and you're like, it's okay to learn something here. Like, right. Like step outside of your comfort zone, commit to the bit, and let's commit to growing.
Yeah.
Jacob opens the door and says, here's how you can do that. You go in there and we start the thing. And then where did we go? Where was the second shoot?
The second
that day?
shoot that
was
day
it,
was...
it was Elk Flat.
Yeah, so we go like on the cliffside.
Yeah. Which I thought, yeah. Go ahead.
That was great too. That one was
great.
That was a little bit more like maybe everyone can just kind of shoot them from. It was harder to have people go individually and direct people because it's this beautiful cliffside, but the walking space is like super thin. So
the one hard thing about all the rain, the sun still came out for that shoot and it was great, but because we were on like this cliffside and there was a lot of dirt and stuff, it was kind of muddy. And so on top of there not being a ton of walking space, it was kind of like slick. And there were some parts that were not as accessible as they were when we went back in May when things were a little bit more dry.
Yeah.
But even then, still really cool to watch people put into action, the answer to some of their questions that they got from your post-production, and listening to Jacob talk about creativity, watching that for the first time as they started. And I've noticed since the retreat, I mean, it's been, when did we went in November? It's been a month that we've been home. And I've seen a lot of content from that day. A lot of the cliffside content.
So that's what I was about to say. I think that was a lot of people's favorite day was Elk Flat Trail, which is the cliff.
I'm telling you, it's because it was hot off the heels of the creativity and asking the questions, and people their gears are just kind of doing this whole thing. Because when you were doing your thing, everyone was so wrapped up in it. I'm in the back.
You're in the back, like pointing to your watch, like, we got you go. I'm like, shut up, Cam. I'm trying to stifle these people's
we're going to miss out. Our models are just waiting.
Oh, I know, but it was just crazy how the kind of like tumbled. It started off like, okay, I'm gonna talk, and I'm talking through, and then there's like this, it was like this little avalanche, this little snowball roll, and like, well, what about this? And what about, and then if I want to do, and then how would you structure? And then it just became this big group conversation. Okay, but I don't want to hang on this too long. I want to put a bow on this whole thing, but we got to talk about day 3.
Yes.
Day 3 was kind of this dream day where we have our shoot. on the beach and in the forest. The forest was, I think, was one of my personal favorites. I loved the texture of the forest. I love how green it was.
I personally loved the forest too. I loved the couple at Short Sand Beach.
Yes.
I loved
them.
They
were great.
They were so fun.
All of the models were amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
It's crazy. Just every single one was actually just so easy to direct and tell, and just we had so many ideas. We have this awesome setup in the forest, which is right next to the beach. We do the same thing. We rotate, and we get creative. We make our videos, and then later, no, it was good.
You're good. You go ahead.
What was basically taking over the last little bit of our final day, we did not anticipate that we would be doing kind of keynote education for so long. But it was such
4 hours.
4 hours, by the way. So it ended up being 4 hours of deeply emotional, inspiring talks by, was it Boomer first?
Boomer first.
Actually,
no, I'm sorry, no.
Oh,
it was Chris from Bride and Groom.
Chris from Bride and Groom.
Chris from Bride and Groom came all the way from North Carolina. He's their rep for Bride and Groom. Also a wedding videographer. You can check him out at Smart and Summit Media. He had a keynote for us, had a special discount code for all the people for all of our attendees. He also collected our hard drive or our SD cards from the day before shoots. Mine, Kyle's, and Jacob's SD cards, sent it off, and they did a same day edit for us, like a little teaser. Showed it in front of everybody. It was really cool. It turned out really great.
Yeah.
And then right after that, we got into Boomer's thing.
So we get into Boomer. And so if you remember the beginning of this episode, the whole thing, our whole first step was Boomer helping us. So,
yes.
And again, out of the kindness of his heart, letting us stay at his house way back when to scout and feeding us and showing us all the places and in general hanging out with us. Okay, now he's agreed to speak at the thing, right? He's there, he's hanging out for some of the days, and he's agreed that, okay, yeah, I would love to speak. And Boomer is a special kind of dude because it's not like he's so deeply spiritual in his own way. That's the best way that I can describe it. If you go to his Lyman experience, it's about finding your purpose, finding yourself. Who are you in this universe, and how do you basically make a living or find yourself in it, and how do you continue to fulfill yourself with whatever that purpose is, right?
He is the best. This is the best way I can describe Boomer.
Okay.
There's nobody on this planet that can articulate an emotion better than Boomer.
Yeah.
The way he talks about feelings and emotion and passion and creativity is unlike anything I've ever heard.
So
it's okay.
And along with the sun, along with the non-rain, along with all of the great meals and people and hanging out and just generally having a really good group with
all of our
no bad
showed
apples.
Up, everybody was great.
We're finding that even though we had planned education, we're kind of making these small little audibles and changes according to what was happening the day before.
Yes,
including Boomer. Go ahead.
Well, he made an audible too, because we're sitting at the breakfast spot when we first got there. And we had talked with Boomer about what we wanted him to talk about. And Boomer's the sound guy. So we were like, okay, come talk to everybody about sound and music and how it affects your wedding films. That was our original idea for Boomer. Well, we're sitting at the coffee shop, and Boomer calls me, and he's like, hey, or he texted me and was like, hey, if you have a minute, give me a call. So I call him, and we're talking, and he's like, so I had this whole thing planned, and it just doesn't feel right. I'll do it if you want me to. I planned the thing that you wanted me to, but it feels a little bit off. I'm down to make an audible if you want to hear it. I'm like, yeah, I'll hear it. And then he tells me about it, and I'm like, I don't really know what that means, man, but I trust you.
Yeah.
Right? I know you wouldn't do anything to sabotage us at all. And I also know how introspective and in touch with vibes and emotion you are.
Yeah.
So yes, do your thing.
I was the same way. I'm just
he called an audible on our behalf,
just
out of the kindness of his heart, and he had a whole presentation based off of that phone call the day before.
Yeah.
So he had tossed everything out,
right,
and redid his thing.
Right. So I didn't want to say, the more that came to my mind was not organized, because he's very well organized, but it was just this very fluid, I got to feel the vibe. And then and then ride that wave of what people are feeling and what they're going through.
Yeah.
And anyways, so he had been feeling that vibe of what Jacob said of like, you know, reaching into your inner child, right? And that was like a big, well, it wasn't that big at the time, but it became a really big thing towards the end of that last night where he's like, so like you said, like he does these great analogies and he has you close your eyes and picture yourself and what would you say? And there are just people just like, it was like, you could hear a pin drop. It was just silent. And everyone is so engaged in what he's saying. And, you know, he starts with like this awesome, like little riff of a poem. You can't really describe it. You have to be there. That's why people pay him to do that.
Yeah.
To go to his alignment experience. He was able to shed a little bit of that experience with us for our thing. Just blew it out of the water. People were just like, had no idea what they were getting into.
We had no idea.
We had no idea.
Me and you were sitting there like, oh my gosh. Like, it was just incredible.
It was so good. Okay. But then it came time for Cameron to follow up after Boomer. And so you're feeling the pressure of like, oh, I have to follow up.
I was feeling.
Let me tell you, because Cameron won't. Cameron had also been feeling the vibe. And we knew that Cameron is the business guy, right? So it would be, you know, incumbent on him to talk about business and how to sell and all this stuff. But we actually had a really good conversation, just like how we had with Boomer. We had a good conversation with John, because John is also the business guy.
Yeah. Well, I asked John. We went upstairs, and he was planning on going to bed, but I was like,
the night before.
I'm not letting you. Yes, the night before the big education thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, before you go to sleep, I need to ask you what your presentation is, because I know what mine is, and I'm feeling like I'm going to scrap the entire thing. And he's like, okay. And then he shares with me what his is. And I'm like, I have very similar things. And I just felt something so different from everybody there. And I knew that, like, I didn't know what Boomer was going to do, but I knew he wasn't going to talk about business. Jacob didn't talk about business. You didn't talk about business. I knew John was going to talk about business. So and especially after hearing Boomer, I'm like, I'm literally listening to Boomer having a spiritual experience myself while simultaneously deleting my slides as he's saying things. I'm making new slides. It was so stressful. It was so stressful.
But it was great because you go up there and, you know, you kind of, you be a tiny bit self-deprecating at the beginning. Like, how am I supposed to follow up with that? And everyone's like, ha, ha, ha. You know?
Yeah. And then they looked at me.
But then, okay, I want to say this, and maybe there was just the precedent that I said that I had set from the beginning, was I like, we can get emotional if you want. I had gotten emotional. Boomer had gotten emotional. It was Cameron's time to proceed, and it's all following this theme of like, who are you, and would your inner child be happy with who you are right now, right? You made that analogy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to say it specifically, but it was a really great analogy. And same deal, kind of like having people close their eyes, imagine themselves, open their eyes. And to Cameron's credit, Boomer did a great job, but no one made everyone cry as much as Cameron did. Everyone was bawling.
It was because of Boomer, though. Okay, so look, I thank you. But it was all because of, so Jacob had brought up the thing about the inner kid that I've heard about that, right? Like, people pay a lot of money to go to therapy where they connect with a younger version of themselves, and they like, this is a very common thing, right? Not just for creatives that are making wedding films, right? Like, this is a very big thing, right? And I'd heard about it, but I never really like, oh, that, I feel like that's for people that might have like more serious trauma than I do. Like, I had a great childhood and all these things, right?
Yeah.
Jacob brings it up in a creative sense, and I'm like, man, that is so good. I never heard about, I never like thought about that before, right? And then Boomer brings it up, and I'm like, there's something here. And so I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, oh, what do I do? And I just I was feeling inspired by what Boomer said, and I just remembered being a little kid on the playground, feeling so happy with all of my friends, like. And I remember it was my first grade year. It was my favorite playground of all the schools that I had ever been to, right? Like, I just loved it. And I had never, like, that was just such a happy thing. And I was feeling that in the moment. And I'm like, I bet you everybody has a moment like that, or a place like that, or a time in their life where they were happy as a kid. And now you're an adult and you're stressed because you have responsibilities and you have bills to pay and you have people counting on you for their films. And we're like creative people doing this thing that we're passionate about, but it just kind of is a bummer that we also have to make sure that we run a business to keep it going. And so that can sometimes drag people down and it stresses people out. And I could tell that was the vibe of everybody. They're like, how can I get to a point where I don't feel like I'm like pulling this 2-ton business along with me to keep up my passion?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I felt from everybody at the retreat. And between all of the keynotes before, I just felt very inspired to help people remember a time when they were that way. And it was just the one line. And I felt inspired in the moment when I was listening to Boomer. I'm like listening to him typing, and it was just this image came to me of walking up to a little kid, like a younger version of yourself, right? And kneeling down and looking him eye to eye and having this little kid like tell you, I'm so happy here. And then the next slide was, you deserve to be happy. And it was just this moment where it's like, you're putting the pieces together. Kyle talks about purpose. Kyle shares his creativity. Jacob talks about his purpose and creativity. Boomer talks about creation and creativity and this young kid. And I know John's about to bust through the gate with this business talk. And I'm like, I have to bridge this gap.
Bridge the gap.
I have to. And so it was just this thing where I was going to talk all about business. I was going to talk about an experience and all the things I've done in my business this year. And it was going to be good. It would have been fine. But I just knew mine was going to be a little cut short, and I was just going to transition into to John. And I just basically got everybody to realize, okay, you know why you're here. You've done all of the things. All of our shoots are over with. You've made connections. You've learned everything that you can pretty much learn at this retreat, with the exception of how to transfer this young kid with this creativity and this passion. Now you're going to teach this kid how to run a business, and you're going to learn how to actually loosen the grip, and it's not going to feel like it's a 2-ton weight. You're just going to learn how to run a business and be happy about it. And then John absolutely blew it out of the water himself.
Well, so continuing on, we're probably like 2.5, 3 hours deep into this thing by now, and people are just like, I'm just looking at everyone thinking, is anyone tired? Is anyone thirsty? Does anyone need to go to the bathroom? And we took us a few breaks here and there, but I mean, people were they were pretty locked in. So it's John's turn, and again, John starts talking, at least to open up, about his family and what's important to him and why he does what he does. And then all of a sudden, Mr. John, businessman himself, gets a little bit emotional. And I'm like, what is happening right now? The whole retreat, I'm like, I'm finding any piece of wood I can knock on so I can freely say, I just can't believe how well this is going. That's the only thing that kept coming to my mind, is that everyone's happy. We're all having a good time. People seem really responsive to the education, to the shoots. And I won't get ahead of myself, but yeah, John teaches, and he later podcasts about the fact that this was probably some of the best education he's ever taught before. Yeah. And it was about getting out of the middle market. And it was this great analogy about having like these 3 pillars, one being your network, one being your creativity, and the other being the network, creativity, and your brand, in your work.
Oh wait, yeah, no, your network, your brand,
and your actual filmography, basically your catalog or your portfolio, which was, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, and he's very self-aware, and he said this himself. I think he makes great wedding films, but he's like, I'm not the most creative guy. I don't make something that's better than this person or whatever nationally renowned videographers that are out there, but I'm a good businessman, and I know that I need these 3 pillars. And so I think it was a big, refreshing thing to hear for people that were maybe listening to me or Jacob or whatever, that look at like films or how deeply we care about our creativity and making the best film possible. And we didn't want them. That was one of our fears, is that people would only feel more bogged down by thinking that they could never make something like that. Yeah. Which I believe they could, but I didn't want them to feel like they couldn't. And so it was nice for someone to come in as well established as John was and say, hey, I make it fine making pretty good wedding videos, but having these other two pillars that I've honed in on really, really, really well, and I built a really good business around it. So that was perfect. Yes, from him.
Amazing. And we did a round table.
We did a Q&A, really great, awesome questions. But I mean, I did
Even
not.
the Q&A went on
I
for
did
an
not.
hour and 20
I
minutes.
did not expect people to have so. I thought people
We've
were ready
been
to
there
go
for
to dinner.
3 hours already.
I'm like, if we want to go to dinner, we can just go to dinner. We're sitting there, and people are asking really good questions about,
Yes.
to me and to John and to you and to everyone. I think everyone got fielded at least one or two questions, and then people, in the group are getting emotional about how the great experience that they had, and they're just like, I'm not going to call her by name, but it was just, she felt as though she could open up in a way that she hasn't been able to in this industry before. And I almost cried again. I'm like, I'm so happy. So what I was saying before I was talking about John was, I think people could recognize from the get-go that, number one, we were passionate, which was always our thing that we wanted to relate to people. And number two, that we cared deeply, because, and this is one of the things that I said before when it came to our purpose day, it was a matter of perspective based off of experience. We have experience being husbands, dads, jobs, trying to make it work. And because we've gone over to this very niche creative job, we just take it to heart so much how appreciative we are that we even get to do something like this. And that's what we wanted to convey to everyone, where there might be people that are a little bit younger, they don't have that kind of experience, they only know the problems or the troubles with this specific job. And we were there to say, sure, but this is still the best job in the world.
Yeah.
Bar none, in my opinion. But it's just crazy to me. And it comes with everything that you said, problems, baggage, different, you have to do your businesses. Everyone has to do their taxes. Everyone has to talk to people. There's cancellations. There's problems that every job has. But we were coming into it kind of like these bozos that couldn't believe that we were making a pretty good living doing it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was really cool. Honestly, it was the craziest, most jam-packed, non-stop, go, every second accounted for 4 days of my life, probably. I don't know. It felt so busy. And every time it felt so big, it was funny because on the fourth night after everything, we go to dinner, and some of the guys wanted to go back and do some work on their laptop, get into the editing, and then kind of tuck in for the night. And so I drive some of them back, and I'm coming back to the main house because we were playing Secret Hitler. That was honestly,
that was the thing.
That was so fun.
That board game.
If you don't have that game, just it's $40 on Amazon. Just buy it.
I think I created a bunch of monsters because I love Secret Hitler, and then people would not let me go to sleep.
One
more round, Kyle. I'm like, guys, it's 2 in the morning.
just one more, just a little more. And I was coming back from dropping off the guys, and I realized it was the first time in 4 days that I had been by myself. And from the guy's house to the girl's house was 3-minute drive, maybe. And the 3 minutes felt almost deafening because of the silence. That's how busy it was, and we're just having so much fun, and the conversations that we were having in the vans, they were just deep and they were meaningful, and we're getting questions, and it was so cool. It was a really, really cool thing, and it didn't stop the entire time. And so we stayed up, played Secret Hitler really late that night, went back to the house, and we half packed things up, cleaned things up the next morning, and then we were off. And we went to the airport, and
that was it.
And it was
the
really
only
cool.
thing I left behind was one single AirPod, which renders the whole package of AirPods useless if you only leave one behind. Little known fact: you leave one AirPod behind, you're cooked. You can never use them again.
Yeah. What everyone doesn't know is this is the fourth set of AirPods that Kyle has ordered this year.
Yeah, well, probably in the last 6 months.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a phenomenal retreat. There's that word. It was seriously so fun. It was so jam packed, and I just appreciated everybody. And that was the thing when we first got there, right? We're saying hey to everybody. We're eating pizza. We go upstairs and I'm introing your purpose keynote that you're about to give to everybody. And I told everybody, I'm like, you're here. You paid the money to be here. We're all here. We're sitting here. Just commit to the bit. Just for a little bit. Just give it everything that you have. And I just so appreciate everybody actually doing that.
Yeah.
Everybody actually stepped out of their comfort zone. They were willing to learn. They were willing to grow. They asked the questions. Like I saw people were asking me to help them pose and different shot ideas. They're like, I have this idea in my head. How do I make this happen? I know you and Jacob were fielding the exact same questions. I'm just watching everybody do everything that they can to get the most out of the retreat. And I think that was the secret sauce, was everybody that came that was so willing to like do something new and learn and grow. And they were all collaborative and they were helpful. There wasn't a single bad apple in the group. There was no drama. There was not any annoying people. Like everybody was just, dang it. It was so good.
So we knew this would happen. We knew that we knew going into it, we had said, we don't ever want to plan another retreat ever again because, we didn't know. Like, you don't know what you don't know.
It was so much
I had a
work.
general idea, but like, as far as like, especially from the ground up, we are nobodies, right? We're just a couple of guys, and to convince people to kind of come and spend their money and go out of town, whatever. It was a lot of work to market, to make videos. Like very fortunate to have really good, successful wedding video businesses, us both individually. So there's just a long queue of videos that we have to get to, as well as the fact that when we get home, like we can't really work at all. He has 4 kids, I have 3. Well, I'm not working at all when I'm home. Like it's a matter of like our wives just like, here's all the kids, you need them now. I'm like, you're right. And I'm just not getting anything done once I get home. So to portion up or to divvy up that time, it was a sacrifice every single time to make a video for the retreat, to market the retreat, to go out of town to scout the retreat, to do those planning meetings, to get all the floor. I mean, obviously the financial investment, but we knew that overall we cared more about making the best thing possible more than getting anything financially out of it for us, especially in these beginning stages of being wedding video educators. We cared most about just making it right the very first time.
Yeah.
So we knew that coming back, that was our fear, that we would have such a good time, we would automatically go into our computers looking into spots to do our next retreat. I'm not going to say when that'll be, and probably won't be anytime soon.
It's not in 2026.
But it probably
confirm.
It probably won't be this year.
What do you mean probably?
This coming, well, yeah, it won't.
It can't be.
But I think we'll focus really, really hard on this podcast, basically everything that's local. Like we need to finish our school. We need to do our podcast. We need to keep offering in-person mentorships. We can do plenty of workshops that are local because we have great relationships with all the vendors here. As far as like a big retreat, we want to do it much bigger, much better than the previous one. And that's just going to simply take time that if we wanted to do it right now, we'd have to start planning now. And it's just not feasible.
Yeah. But it is going to be good. And knowing now what we know about this retreat that we just came off of, with the people and all of the feedback they gave us, I couldn't be more excited for episode 2 of the retreat. Or what are we saying?
The crash out tour.
Crash out tour for, but what do you call it? Is it episode 2? Whatever.
I think you said episode 2.
I did say episode 2. I thought whatever.
Crash out tour.
Crash out tour. So episode 2 is going to be so, I don't know if we'll ever top the first one in terms of vibes and feelings and how good everything went. Because who's to say?
Maybe
right?
we will.
Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. But I do know that like we proved to be doing it for all the right reasons. And when you're doing it for the right reasons, you attract the right people to come. And that is what we're trying to focus on this year, is trying to show people more or less what we have to offer. But then also on top of it, just doing our best to offer everything that we can at no cost. And then in 2027, when we go episode 2 with the retreat, it will be bigger and better than we could even possibly imagine, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's just the WC way.
I'm excited. I'm really excited for what we had planned, thought about for this coming year, and then decided it would be better and everyone would benefit more if we had more time to do it.
But man, if we could say what it was.
We can't say what it is.
Yep.
But we know what we want. We know who we want involved. They've already said yes to it. Everyone's really excited for it. It could not feasibly be this year, but
Yes.
it will be next year.
Yep. And it'll be sweet. It'll be awesome. And before we wrap up this podcast, we wanted to give a huge shout out to Ashlyn and Michaela, the true MVPs of this whole.
I was like, who are they? I'm like, what are you talking
You're like, who are Ashlyn and Michaela?
Oh,
exactly, right?
haven't seen them in years.
So much time has gone into this, and it's not just retreat planning, because every time we plan for the retreat, or anytime we take time to make a video or a podcast, or we put out content or whatever, it takes a little bit of time away from the businesses that we actually run, that actually pay our bills, and it just extends the amount of time that we are away from our families, leaving the burden on our wives. And kids are kids.
Yeah, they are.
Holy cow.
They've been kidding lately. It's been wild.
But the biggest shout out to Ashlyn and Michaela for allowing us to, I don't know, probably dream too big and
At this point,
do way too many things and add way too much to our plates. But honestly, it's the biggest blessing to have a supportive spouse and to just really get to dive deep into, I don't know, the deepest passion that I think I'll ever have on this planet.
I mean, it's crazy.
I couldn't think of another job that I would rather have. And so, I mean, there's any job that's available, and this is the one that I've chosen. And so it's just really cool to be able to do it. And it's thanks to our wives. So thank you.
We love
the real
you.
MVPs. I really do love you.
We love you bigly.
Yeah.
All right, but that was the recap. What?
That was the recap, but I have to ask you.
Oh.
This is the bride and groom video question of the day.
Oh.
For all of your video editing needs, you should know that Kyle and I are exclusive editing partners with bride and groom video. They are our exclusive editing partner, I should say. The only people we trust to edit our films. So if you want to use them, Crashers100, that's your code for $100 off your first order.
Yeah.
But the bride and groom video question of the day, Kyle.
What's up?
What was your favorite part of the retreat?
Oh, that's lame.
That's a lame question?
I mean, I can't pick a. Well, I guess I could pick
You
a favorite.
could.
I don't know. It's hard to say. They're all good. They're like my children. They're all good for their own reasons, but there's definitely a favorite. Let's see. The last day was really good.
Yeah,
I mean,
loved the
it was
last day.
crazy. It was just spiritual, and I think that last day, that whole 4-hour block, just because it blew my expectations out of the water.
Yeah.
And it was such a good way to end everything. So, but between that and also like I'm a foodie, so like when we went and found good coffee shops or we found like good food, even that last night after that 4-hour thing, we found this, and it's not very easy to find restaurants open that late willing to accommodate for 20 plus people. And that was a small little like miracle.
They
Like even
almost
that
turned us
last
away.
night, yeah, they're just like, you're so many people, and here, I mean, me and Cameron just like, you don't want all of our money.
Like, we're going to give you
But
money.
I think it's just like a small town thing where it's like we can't, and it's a matter of them kind of being stressed out. Like, okay, I'm gonna get this table first and then your table. I'm like, that's totally fine.
That's the way it goes.
That's totally good with me as long as we're fed. But yeah, I think that last day, that last education,
Yeah.
when we knew that basically it was over, and we had low key nailed it. That was
Yeah.
my favorite part. Okay, what was your favorite part?
No, it was the same. In fact, when I got home, it was the 4 days that I had talked the least with my family. We were so busy that I had texted Ashlyn maybe once or twice throughout the day, each day. And it was up in the air whether I got to call him before the end of the day. So by the end, I got home and she's like, okay, I haven't talked to you in like 4 days. Like, dump it on me. Like, how was it? Because I hadn't even been updating her. And that, I took her through the whole thing, but I spent the most amount of time talking about that 4th day, specifically the last bit of time that we were all together as a group. Because it really was. It was just eye-opening. It was inspiring. I thought it was so profound in so many ways that I just had no expectation for that kind of growth. I was going there to talk about a totally different kind of growth, and I learned about the opposite end of that growth, which I just thought was so cool. And I know everybody had a really good experience with that portion as well. So, yeah, I'd say that one.
Yeah, that was good.
That was my favorite part. But
there's been a lot of things that have happened. How do I say that sentence right? There have been a lot of things that have happened between when we got home and today, including more weddings, more
we both had
experiences.
2 weddings the days out. We got home on Thursday. I had a wedding on Friday and on Saturday.
And there's a bunch of crazy stories even between then and now.
Yeah.
Including the most recent one that we did when we went to Mexico for Alec Thomas's wedding, which has its own crazy story and experiences. But
we'll talk about that next
we'll
week.
talk about that's all to say we have a lot of things to talk about. We'll tee it up next week when it comes to like a few local things that we've done, a few out of country things that we've done, what we can expect now that the year's basically over. But overall, it's pretty solid cocktail party.
Yeah,
pretty solid year.
The next few episodes at least will be recaps, but not so like frame for frame. There will be more of like things that we learned and cool experiences that we had between now and then. But this episode I feel like was just kind of, for those that we had so many, at least I did. I had so many people. They're like, the FOMO was absolutely crippling, and I'm just like, yeah, I can't even really. I'm like, I didn't even know what to say to people. I'm like, yeah, you missed out.
You really
like,
did
you
miss
really
out
missed
badly.
Out. Yeah, and so I mean, it was obviously a great experience. But this one was really for all the homies that came out. If nothing else, we hope we reminded you of the good times that we had in Oregon. Don't forget about us. We love you. Thank you all for coming to the retreat.
Flashback to the very first time we sat in this studio. It didn't look as good as it did today, but like that video is so embarrassing because we announced so many things, and you have to watch the video like 5 minutes in to finally get to the point where we talk about the retreat. Like, okay, and to finish it off, we were hosting a retreat. It's like we're 12 minutes into the video, Kyle. No one made it here.
Nobody knew what we were doing. Actually, 2 people did, because 2 people bought their retreat tickets
which
that
I'm
day.
shocked about.
Yeah.
I'm sure that their attention spans are just much better than ours.
Yeah.
But
thank you all for coming out to the retreat. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. We'll catch you next week on the Wedding Crashers podcast. What's next week's episode? Is that 9 or 10? We're so
I don't know.
We're such noobies in this thing. We're just like barely scratching the surface.
For episodes 8.
Yeah.
It could be 8.
Could be 8, could be 9. But we're excited for this upcoming year. We're committed to doing this every week, and really just being here, talking, learning, sharing, doing all that we can. So,
Peace out.
catch you on the flip.
Catch you on the flippity flip.
Okay, bye.